Okay, folks, we are back. This is Jay Mac. This is Street to Strategy. This is episode 6. Before I start, I need to say something today, and I'm going to try to not get too emotional. But I got to take a moment to sincerely thank people that have been reaching out to me and showing me nothing but love for this podcast. When I started this, I didn't know what was going to happen with it. It kind of started on a whim, but so many cops, former cops, current cops, have called me and expressed nothing but love. I get emotional because there's so many guys that call me when I answer the phone. They're actually bawling, they're crying, and they're thanking me for saying this stuff because we are saying things that have needed to be said for a lot of years. And, you know, my podcast just started off as kind of a conversational thing, but it's really become a healing platform for people. And so for all the people that have showed me love, just know this, I'm going to keep these going. And it's just one of those things. I'm very thankful. So today, let me give my guest an intro. I want to welcome today's episode, or today's guest. And this is a story of courage, confession, and redemption. Our guest was born and raised right here in Visalia, California, a proud graduate of Golden West High School and the Tulare Kings County Police Academy, where he finished 12th in his class back in 2004. Not long after graduation, he answered a higher calling, the call to serve and protect. He began his law enforcement career with the Visalia Police Department, taking the oath on September 20th, 2004. He started out on patrol, but his real passion was the K-9 unit. For 6 years, he volunteered his time before earning his first dog, Axel, and later his trusted partner, Zero. Together, they hit the streets, facing dangers few can imagine. In 2012, during a violent shootout in Goshen, he found himself in a life and death encounter, and just 2 months later, in another. These events would mark a turning point in his career and in his life. Like many first responders who carry the unforeseen scars of this job, he began to spiral, chasing the same adrenaline he once felt in the field. The drinking, the drugs, the chaos, it all caught up with him. His career unraveled, his family fractured, and addiction took over. But that's not where his story ends. After losing nearly everything, he found the strength to rebuild. He entered recovery, turned his life around, and today, more than 4 years clean and sober, he's not only a business owner and a skilled welder, but a man walking in faith, purpose, and peace. This episode is about the rise, the fall, and the redemption of a man who's been to hell and back and found grace on the other side. Let's welcome our guest, Daniel Roberts.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate
it. I'm sorry for getting emotional, man.
Me get choked up.
Yeah, you know, and let's start from the beginning, brother. What was it like growing up in Visalia back then?
Well, I was born in the 80s, so growing up in the 90s, being a 90s kid, man, you're just hanging out with your buddies until the sun goes down. And I grew up in a little neighborhood over on the northeast side of town. The gangsters call it Holiday Homes.
Oh, I know Holiday Homes all too well.
Yeah. So I grew up over there. I lived there till I was 20, till I moved out. And, all my buddies on that street, I still have contact with a couple of them. But it was a great life over there, man. It was a rough neighborhood,
yeah,
but I loved it, man. I loved it over there.
And for the folks at home, Holiday Homes, it's kind of a street unto itself because, to the south, you got those crappy apartments on Douglas,
yeah,
and, there's kind of only one way in, one way out. And it really is. It's kind of a war zone, man.
Yeah.
And so it's a testament to you that you came out. And I got to believe, being a white kid in that neighborhood during those times, I bet you that was challenging. You know?
There was only a couple of us, and then some of the other families moved out, as we got older. But it it was interesting to say the least.
100%. How would you just describe your upbringing and family life? Mom, dad, and all that? Or
Yeah, my parents are still married. I have one younger sister. She lives in just north of Fresno with her husband and kids, and we were raised in the same. I was born into the same house I lived in my whole life. Mom and dad, raised me in the church, so I had an understanding of faith and things like that.
Pentecostal, or what were you guys?
I guess we would. When I was a kid, we were Baptist, but then we ended up going to a non-denominational church, but Protestant, regular old Protestant family, and really, my parents did, especially my dad, really hammered on, family values, on, the difference between right and wrong, being honest. And his big one was humility. That was my dad's big one.
I would tell you this, man. I was raised in a hellfire and brimstone church, man. Old time religion, right? And, but man, when I go watch a pastor now, I got to have the pageantry, man. I got to have the screaming, the yelling, the singing, the dancing.
Yeah.
I got to have the band playing. And if I don't get that, bro, if I just see a pastor get up and talk in their very monotone, dude, I just tune out.
Yeah, it feels flat.
Yeah, and and I don't feel fed if I'm getting that, man. So I got to have it all, bro. In fact, when I was 5, everybody thought I was going to be a pastor. And I used to tell people, sometimes the low road can take you places the high road can't, right?
Yeah.
But what kind of student were you in high school and at Golden West and the academy?
I've always been a C's get degrees kind of guy, like fly in the middle of the pack. I was never a standout student. I started school actually when I was 4 because where my birthday fell. So I was kind of always a little behind, I felt like.
When is your birthday?
September.
Okay.
Yeah. So I felt like I was always a little behind.
Gotcha.
Not because I wasn't smart enough, I don't think. It's just my maturity level was, not there. But I graduated high school, with above a 3.0, as an average student.
Well, you're better than I was, man. I could tell you this. Every time I run into Alex Gluckman, and for the folks at home, Alex Gluckman is a teacher at Golden West High School. And, but he always asks about you, brother. And I can tell when he asks about you, he is sincerely wants to know how you're doing.
Yeah. Alex was by far my favorite teacher in high school. I was there at Golden West his first year teaching. So that was 1996, I think. And I don't know, man, I just got along with him right away. And, man, I always loved that guy.
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
Just a good
For
person.
the folks at home, Alex later on in life dated your ex-wife, right?
That's how close we were, man.
Well, also too, I dated Daniel's ex-wife for a short time. But I will tell you this: she's a classy lady.
She is.
She never said one bad thing about you. In fact, I asked her, "Hey, why'd you guys get divorced?" And all she said was, "He has a dark side to him." But that's as far as she would never. She never disparaged you. And so, God bless her wherever she's at.
She wasn't kidding. I didn't even know it at the time.
Yeah. And but she's a class act. So, that's it. And then you did number 12 in the academy out of how many cadets?
I think we graduated with around 50, maybe a little.
Okay, that's pretty decent.
People. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did work hard in the academy. I have always tried to give the appearance of not working too hard, because it stresses me out well, I'm sure we'll get into that, but I just wanted to get the certificate at the end. There were some guys in the academy, that had to be number 1, and their academy experience was 10 times more stressful than mine was.
Yeah, I would tell you this, man. I was class leader during mine, and dude, it was just added stress. Yeah. And you're right, dude. I mean, I think I graduated like number 6 out of 44 people. And, by the end of it, everyone's just ready for it to be over.
You're smoked.
I mean, it is. Yeah. And, it's not fun. When did you first know you wanted to become a police officer?
I knew I wanted to be a police officer, but beyond that, I knew I wanted to work for PD when I was 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know where I got the idea, because I didn't really have any family in law enforcement or anything. Maybe because the cops were in my neighborhood all the time. I don't know. But, I knew that I wanted to work there from the time I was a little kid. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
What motivated you to serve? Was it just the sense of duty, adventure, community?
Yeah, man, that's hard to say. I just feel like it was something innate in me that wanted to do it. And I've always been a person who loves to come to the aid of another, sometimes to my own detriment. But I think I was born with a servant's heart,
100%. And I'll tell you for the folks at home, and I've said this statement before, there's not a lot of cops that could do what I do, but you were one of them, dude. You are a warrior, dude. You are a warrior, dude. And, anytime I was ever on a call with you, I never worried about backup because I knew this. If it went fisticuffs, you were down. If it went to blazing guns, you were down.
Yeah.
And so you are, man. I mean, and it's tough to say, have to admit that there's just a lot of cops, man. They don't do what we do. And, man, I think here's the scary part. Society, crooks, they rely on society's indulgence.
Sure.
And so when you get warrior cops like us, dude, I mean, we do things that most cops don't want to do, but it takes a toll on us. And I think your story is going to highlight that. And, we'll get to it. The day you got sworn in, what did that mean to you?
It was absolutely surreal. Before I got hired with Visalia PD, going through the academy, one of the director of our academy pulled me aside because I love to joke around. I like to keep it light,
Was that Miller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pulled me aside and he had some concerns about my demeanor, because he was a real laced up guy and a very good man. But he's all about business. And I'm out there joking and smoking, too much for his liking. He's an old school guy.
Yeah.
And he pulled me aside one day and he said, I just don't think you have what it takes to make it in this. I don't think you take it seriously enough. And I don't know. He was not being insulting or demeaning. He was telling me his honest opinion. And that I already was driven to do what I was doing. But at that point I was like hell bent on doing it.
Yeah, for the folks at home, they called him Lieutenant Miller at the police academy, but he ran the police academy, but he was already a retired highway patrolman. Yeah. And I think by the time he was in those academies, I mean, he was mid-60s, maybe pushing 70, looked great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he was phenomenal, had a real passion for training future cops. And, you're right. Very good man, good heart.
Yeah.
Full of integrity.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still alive or not.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him.
Wherever he's at, I wish him well.
Yeah.
What was your mindset as a first, when that young officer, full of energy, nerves, and confidence? Because I could tell you this, those first few years at Visalia PD, I don't care who you are, they suck.
Oh, they were rough. They were rough. Back then, so this is 2004, the attrition rate from FTO at that time was like 50%.
Oh, 100%.
So it was like, you'll get hired, but you probably won't make it through FTO. You'll probably get fired. You probably have to go somewhere else and come back, every day. So I got sworn in, which seems so surreal. I was 22 years old. I had just turned 22.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you this, man, that's probably a problem for a lot of people because you got a 22-year-old kid with very limited life experience, and now you're expected to make life and death decisions.
Oh yeah, and not only did I have no life experience, I wasn't a sheltered kid or anything, but I think I was just, like a lot of 22-year-old kids, just naive, but convinced that I knew some things about some things, and so I get sworn in, and they take you out to the range. This is before they did any orientation. So they take you out to the range, you qualify, you do all this stuff. And then the next day you're pushing a black and white, you're riding shotgun, but you're on patrol. And that I'll never forget, Consul, the director of the academy, was telling us a story when we were early on about how he started. I think he started down south, maybe Santa Ana PD or somewhere like that. Yeah. and was talking about the first time you kind of look down and you see those patches on your shoulders, you know, you see a badge on your chest and you're like, is this real? Is this really what I'm doing right now? And it hit me like a truck.
Oh yeah.
You know, like not only are you now expected to know all these things, now you are responsible for, in some situations, life and death.
Yep.
You're being tasked with, you have the power to take away somebody's freedom to move about, you know, some major things. And when you're in the academy, you think, you know, when you hit the street, all of a sudden the realization hits you and you're like, it's almost overwhelming.
I used to tell people this: the academy teaches you this much of this much that you need to know.
Yeah.
And I tell you what was even weirder, the first day when you're on your own and you don't have anybody to bounce things off.
Yeah.
Every cop has felt it.
Yeah.
No, that first day when you go 10-8 and, you know, they give you your first call by yourself, you're like, all right, you know, we'll get through this. Did you have any early like mentors or people that really shaped your outlook on the job?
The person I think I looked up to the most, the two people, my first FTO. So mind you, I have just finished touring with a Christian music ministry. My job before the academy was singing in these concerts.
I was going to say, I remember you could sing, man. Yeah.
I did not use swear words in my common everyday speech. I was, you know, straight-laced kid.
Now you're around a bunch of cops, dude, that every other word is an F-bomb, you know what I mean?
So I show up on my first night, and my first FTO is Mike Karsten.
Oh, yeah.
And he walks in. I don't think I've ever been so scared of another dude in my
Well,
life.
I would tell you that Mike's, once you get to know him, he's a sweetheart, but he's wound pretty tight, and he's pretty serious.
Very serious.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just remember seeing him and him being like, all right, you got your stuff? I'm like, I think so. He's like, let's go. So we get in the car. The moment he starts the car, we got Mudvayne or Lamb of God or something playing on the radio, music that I don't listen to.
Yeah, and for the folks at home, he liked to listen to that thrash stuff. It was like, and like, dude, I was his roommate, and I would just be like, even I would just have sometimes have to open my bedroom door and be like, turn that shit off, dude. You know what I mean? But, you know, and he was actually one of my trainees, and, you know, man, but, yeah, and I don't know if you saw the last episode, but he just got FTO. I mean,
I heard
police officer of the year in
I'm
Huntington.
not surprised.
Dude.
Not even
Stud, dude.
surprised.
Stud.
Yeah.
You know, what were those first years? I mean, for you, was like those first few years, what was the culture like in policing during that time?
What I remember about it was there was a lot of respect from the junior guys to the older guys.
Yes.
The older guys that had been in patrol. I came into patrol and McIntosh was still in patrol. And the dude had done everything. There was nothing that he hadn't done. Like the guy.
McIntosh had just come out of SEU.
Yes.
Back to patrol. I took McIntosh's spot in SEU. And for the folks at home, SEU, that's our gang unit. But yeah, McIntosh, he was a gunslinger and he was a warrior.
And I could see the difference between the way he was on the street and the way I was on the street. So we show up, you know, back then, you remember minimum staffing was 3 and a sergeant.
Yeah.
So we go out on the patrol one of my first days working for Sequoia, and it's like me, McIntosh, and one other person. And I'm like, if they get into trouble, like who's going to help them? Because I don't even know what I'm doing yet. I really looked up to him. I knew right away just the way that he interacted with people. The guy was smooth. Everything he did, like you could just see, like he got compliance out of people because of how relaxed he was.
I would tell you this, and he was in phenomenal shape too.
And he was in great shape.
And I will tell you this, you know, by the time I came on, he already had like 20 years, you know what I mean? And yeah, he was awesome. You volunteered with a K9 unit for 6 years before getting your dog. Dude, that's a long time to volunteer.
It was a long time.
You know, how was that?
It was hard work. There was a period in the beginning where it was volunteer. Then there were some issues with whether or not they should pay us, you know, for being out there because we were doing city work. So there was some volunteer. There was some paid time in there, but it was hard work. And I mean, coming, most people have never been in a bite suit, and then you get in a bite suit, and then you got, your buddy that you work with over there yelling at you while his alligator's at the end of a leash ready to rip your head off. It was scary, dude. I tried to play it off as best I could, but I was shitting bricks in that suit.
I would say this for the folks at home. I mean, the biggest part of what he was doing volunteering, because you're out there, you're taking bites.
That's it.
So, these dogs are, yes, you got the bite suit on, but I've heard that even with the bite suit on, it can be painful at times.
Oh, yeah.
And you got the Malinois, which are, they are German Shepherds on methamphetamine. And, those dogs are gnarly, man.
Yeah.
And, and I mean, many times they were like, Jay, you want to get canines having an opening? I'm like, dude, I'm bougie, dude. I don't want no dog, man. And tell us about your first canine, Axel.
So I'd been going out there helping out the canine unit for 6 years, and then I don't remember who retired out of the unit, but their dog was ready to retire, so there was an opening. So I interviewed, I got the spot, and got my first dog. Came from New Mexico, and the canine world is, man, it's a dirty world. No. Because you can't ask the dog if he's ever been worked before, what his history was. You don't know. So every dog you get, it doesn't matter where they come from. They're all 18 months old. They're all brand new. They've never been worked before. They're all great. They're all they're all perfect. And so we got him. I went through my basic school with Axel, and everything went fine. We passed our basic school. Got out onto the street and had some deployments with him where he failed to engage.
Oh, yeah.
And you put all that work in, you do all the things, and you watching your dog not know what to do.
Yeah, he don't want to attack. He wants to hug and lick on people.
Yeah, and he just, it was heartbreaking. So I thought, maybe that's just maybe it's just a first time thing. Maybe he's nervous too. I don't know. After 2 or 3 or 4 of those, we started having some concerns. So eventually we determined that he wasn't going to engage. We found out too that, kind of by accident at training, we were told he's 18 months old. He's never, he's green. He's never been trained or anything. And I was walking him through where some other officers were doing narcotics training and stuff like that. And he alerted.
Oh, so he was a dope dog.
Yeah, so he did have training, and probably somebody else had bought him, found out that he didn't engage, and sent him back. So they repackaged him and sold him to us. So we ended up sending him back. And then I got a new dog, but it took about 10 months. And
I would tell you something about canines, and for the folks at home, this is my best canine thing. So Robert had a dog, and it bit some people that it wasn't supposed to. And so they were like, so they took the dog from him, they gave it to Kabatic, and we're out on Houston. We got the V line stopped. And so we got one of them in handcuffs. We got her on her knees, and we're clearing this house. And so Kabatic walks up with that dog, and she's on her knees, and the dog just like looks at her, and the dog just goes and just bites her on the nose. Oh. And I remember blood starts squirting out her nose, and I'm like, Ruben, get this dog out of here, man. And obviously she goes nuts, and we all end up at the hospital. But it illustrates the story of they are dogs. People think that just because they're police dogs, that they're smarter than a regular dog. They're not. They bite more cops than they do bad guys. And I've had to lock myself in multiple closets to get away from a canine dog. And, because, we're not going to shoot a canine dog. But I can tell you this. I've locked myself in at least 3 closets to stop myself from getting bit. Yeah. Because Malinois biting you, that's going to be a bad day.
It is not fun. That is for sure.
What were some of the challenges you faced with working police dogs, especially once you got your second dog, Zero? Was he challenging, or did it go smooth?
I would say it went smoothly as far as canine goes, but it was extremely challenging. So my first dog wouldn't engage. And he was a bigger dog. He's probably 70 pounds, bigger, fuller dog.
Czech Shepherd, or what was he?
He was also a Malinois.
Oh, a Malinois. Okay.
And then I remember the day had come where our trainers had gone to Belgium and picked up a few dogs, and they were bringing me my dog. And so we're in Kingsburg doing some training, and I'm like, man, I can't wait, man. I've been talking to the other guys, and we're all pumped about this, and they get this dog out of the car, and I'm like, where's the rest of my dog? This little dog got out of the car, probably 45, 50 pounds, maybe, all black Mal, gets out of the car, and, they're letting him take a break and go pee on a tree or whatever. And I'm like, that's my dog? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, bring out some, big old beast,
Yeah.
And so they hand me the leash and they say, all right, well, take him for a little walk and, whatever. That dog almost pulled me over myself the whole time. I couldn't believe how strong he was. And he was 10 months old when I got him. And we bonded, over the next couple of weeks. And
well, like your dog, and then for the folks at home, there was another dog named Flick.
Yeah.
And man, dude, when those dogs would attack people, I mean, it was a sight to behold, dude.
You put Flick next to Zero, it looks like Zero was standing next to his big brother.
Yeah,
Flick
and
was
and I remember Flick was like, he was all black, he looked like a hound from hell, and I mean, like when he would bite people, I mean, dude, he would just tear the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And we would have to tell people, stop fighting.
Yeah.
Just if you'll quit, we'll try to get them off of you.
Yeah.
But people don't realize it's not as easy to get a dog off of somebody as what you think. Because once they lock on, they don't want to let go. And now they want to start dragging.
Yeah.
And every time they drag, they're ripping tendons and God knows what else of the people. But, for the guys that work dogs, God bless you. And I would tell you this, everybody who did it, they did it well. I respected them. I just knew this. I didn't want no part of a dog. You know what I mean?
It was a great gig. It was a great gig. And, for the dogs, it's all play.
Oh, yeah.
They're not mad at anybody. They're just having the time of their life, So I really, man, that was a great job.
I would tell you this about dogs. I used to say this to people, and this is the honest God's truth. They hate everybody except for their handler, right? And the stuff on our uniforms, sometimes I would just make these dogs wig. And, and so I used to, I remember they'd be like, stay behind the handler. But many times you guys would let those dogs go and then they would circle back on us. And I'm standing behind a handler and they're still coming at me doing the land shark. And, but it's the real deal. What did it feel like being on patrol with a canine that would literally risk his life for you? That must have been cool.
That was probably the coolest feeling ever. You graduate FTO. Those of us that were fortunate enough to do that, you go out on patrol, you're on your own, and it's cool. You see the other guys, but and that everybody's going to take care of each other, But having your dog with you, man, is like you don't have to be a canine officer to know what it's like to have a dog that loves you, you want to take everywhere. Right. Anybody can relate to that. But you get to take yours to work, and he's part of your duty. And the other great thing about canine, not only was he a great force multiplier, where people are getting out of hand, they're getting rowdy, and a bunch of cops show up, and they're still talking trash, and the cops are telling us,
the dog comes out real quick.
Everybody starts to relax because they're like, okay, we don't want to do that. So it was amazing riding around with him. The other great thing about it is the how many kids who might be afraid of cops, they've been raised in families where maybe mom or dad has been taken to jail or whatever. They see a canine unit and they're like, man, I want to see that dog. And Zero was so friendly.
Yeah. You know what? That was such I'll use the dichotomy word, but man, dude, I would watch your dog or Flick. We would be at some community event and I'm watching 4-year-old kids pull on their tail, pull on their ears.
Yeah.
And these dogs were sweethearts.
Yeah.
1 hour later, we're in a backyard with a bunch of gangsters and this dog's tearing the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
And I used to go, wow, man. I mean, it's pretty cool to watch how those dogs realize when to dial it up, when to dial it down. And, man, bro, we're going to talk about something, man, right now that for you, dude, I mean, Daniel was in 2 officer-involved shootings, but let's go with the first one. Let's talk about the night of October 26, 2012, the Goshen shootout. Can you walk us through what happened that night?
Yeah, so regular patrol that night, I think it was a Friday, and it was unusually slow for a Friday night. We didn't have any calls going. I had a ride along with me that night. And there was just nothing happening, which was unusual for a Friday.
Ride along was with you.
Yeah, it was one of the girls from Records had wanted to go on a canine ride along. So like, all right,
love it.
So it was so dead that night, and it's hard. Having a ride along is hard because now you got to worry about you and somebody else. But at the same time, you want it to be busy so they can see you want them to see the thing they came to see.
Correct.
To see what we do out there. And on a night where it's dead like that, you feel like you're just, you're like a stand-up comedian in front of an audience and won't laugh. You're just trying to keep it interesting. You're trying to, make some traffic stops or drum up something. And it was just dead. So we're driving.
Remember the Records person, who that was?
I do. I don't remember her name, but I can't remember her name. But anyway, she's from Records. So,
are you bothered by leg veins of any size? Or is leg swelling or pain bugging you or someone you know? I would recommend that you make an appointment with our friends at Sequoia Vein and Wound to take care of it. With a friendly bilingual staff and their years of experience, they are happy to help resolve those issues. Give them a call to get a consult at 559-713-6478 and tell them that Jay Mac sent you.
We're driving around and I'm like, I'm really sorry, man. This is just kind of a dud of a night. It was getting close to midnight, I think, or about 11 o'clock. Maybe we'll head back, and take you to your car so you can, go home. So, we're not just killing the rest of the shift. There's nothing going on. Well, on my way back to the station, back to when we were still at 1019, gang unit puts out that they're trying to make a traffic stop on a car over in the Northeast 3rd and Strawberry, somewhere over there.
And for the folks at home, that's very central Visalia. And it's actually a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
And what's tough about that street is there's just so many ways they can go. North, south, east, west.
Yeah.
And, but there's always a ton of car chases in that area.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's a target rich environment, but go ahead.
So I hear it come out, and we are kind of in line with where the pursuit's going. So, but I've got a ride along and we're not near her car yet. We're still like north of Goshen Avenue. So I'm like, well, I'm kind of listening and, I don't know if we're going to get into it. So I don't know if I should, drop her off, but it's 11 o'clock on a Friday night. I don't know where a safe place to leave her is because where we are. So the pursuit ends up going up to the 198 and then jumping on at Central Visalia, I think.
And you're right there.
And I'm right there. And I'm like, okay, we're in it. So being in K9, when you are in a K9 unit, you get to the front of the line because if that car wrecks or stops and everybody leg bails, I've got to be able to send my dog without having a bunch of cops in front of me.
Correct.
Because my dog doesn't know the difference. He just sees a guy running. He's like, oh, that's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I hear Adam and Dirk calling it on the radio. So we get on the 198. We catch up to it about Acres.
And for the folks at home real fast, Adam and Dirk, both studs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just stud cops, man.
Absolutely. So they're calling it out. And I knew that if it's Adam and Dirk pulling over, it's probably something good,
Yeah.
So I catch up to it. I get in front of them. They're calling the pursuit. The vehicle's still westbound 198 at like 100 or something like that. I don't know, 80 to 100 miles an hour. Before at the Plaza off ramp, remember they just had a stop sign up there. There was no stoplight. So it was like a real small little intersection. So they exit the Plaza off ramp, blow the stop sign, jump over the roadway and then back onto the freeway. Right. So, it's going.
Yeah.
So we're westbound 198. We go northbound 99. And I've had pursuits go out that way before. Back then at the Avenue 304 exit, there was like a real hard S turn that you'd have to either.
Right where you're talking. And for the folks at home, when he's talking about 198 is a freeway that runs through the city of Visalia, east and west. 99 is now north and south.
Yeah.
So now you guys are heading north towards the city of Goshen, which is a very small rural community of a couple thousand people.
Yeah.
A lot of people live there because it's kind of off grid. It's different.
Yeah.
It's a county town. It's not rural.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're hauling ass out that way. And as they start to get over, I can tell they're going to get off there. And I've had other pursuits do this. If the people that don't live in Goshen don't know that the road turns hard right or hard left. If you don't go either one of those, you're going to go out into a dirt field. So they get off the freeway. I'm telling my ride along, just stay down, yeah,
because you could almost feel it when here we go. It's
So,
getting ready.
yeah, because
Something's happening.
I know for sure at the end of a pursuit, somebody's coming running out of that vehicle.
Yeah.
Which means I'm going to jump out of my car. I'm going to start giving announcements, and I'm probably going to door pot my dog. In our canine cars, we have a little remote on our tack vest that if I hit that button, it automatically opens the rear passenger door.
Perfect.
Dog comes out of the car, and then we deploy. And we train that stuff all the time. So I see a leg bail happen in the car. Well, before that, so the car goes out into that dirt field because they don't negotiate either of the turns. A cloud of dust flies up. I can see the car turn sideways, and then I see the wheels up in the air. And I'm like, oh shit, this is happening, right? So the car flips over, but when it spun, it flipped over and ended up facing me, but upside down, with the wheels in the air. So,
that's an e-ticket ride, bro.
it was,
Yeah.
So it's already, it's already ratcheted up, right? So, but this is what we train for.
Yeah.
So we know what to do. So, somebody comes climbing out of the rear of the car. I start making my canine announcement. And as soon as I sent my dog and cleared leather, unholstered my firearm, I start hearing gunshots. And there's dash cam video of the first part of that shooting before I moved out of frame, but you could see me duck like, oh my God, they're shooting at us. And before I could even really think about it, I heard Adam to the left of me said, oh shit, they're shooting at us. So I recall my dog because he's now out in front of me in the middle of the crossfire.
Did he listen?
Yeah, he came back.
Okay.
He came back. I start returning fire, and I can see somebody climbing out of the driver's seat. I could just see all white coming out of this car. And I thought, that's the guy that's shooting at me. So I start returning fire. I got Adam on my left returning fire. And now I hear Adam, get your fucking dog. My dog came back and didn't know who to bite. And he knows not to bite me. So he's biting Adam on the back of his leg. So I'm now returning fire over my arm while I out my dog off of Adam. Still returning fire. Then my dog's biting me now.
Did you dump a full magazine?
So I left my dog on my leg because now I know where he's at and I can't look down. Dumped a full mag, dropped it, reloaded, and fired 1 or 2 more rounds out of the second.
So you 14 rounds, 15 rounds?
Yeah. So elite, because we were 12 plus 1.
Yeah. So 13,
so 14,
15 at least.
Maybe,
Yeah.
something like that.
And then Adam, did he dump a full magazine?
I don't know how many shots he ended up firing, but it was a bunch. I mean, it was gunshots.
I'm sure Dirk's firing too.
And then Dirk is off on my right. So we fanned out like this.
Yeah.
And, we got bullets coming this way and bullets going that way. My dog's biting me. I mean, it was just, to say it was chaos is an understatement.
Oh, 100%, bro.
But the thing that they talk about, when you're involved in critical incident, everything does slow down.
Oh, it does.
Oh man, it slows down. Everything slows down. It gets quiet. My dog is biting me while I'm returning fire. And in the moment, it didn't hurt. Like I just knew it was happening. And I mean, it hurt like hell later.
Did you take stitches and all that?
No, he didn't. He didn't break through my. My pants, those ripstop pants. He just kind of tore me up, and I was, had some bruises and whatever. So then the dust settles, and we're trying to figure out who's where. We don't even know if somebody's still outstanding because last we saw there's a guy going about towards the back of the building. So the shots, all the shooting stops. The dust starts to settle. Some other units come in, and the driver who I was engaged with, we pull him out of the car to see if we need to do CPR or whatever. And it was obvious that he was not alive. Same thing with the guy in the back that had run around towards the back of the building. The problem is that it all happened so fast. We didn't know how many people ran to the back of the building. So when you hear 1199 like that,
yeah, for the folks at home, when we say 1199, that means officers needs assistance now. It's like it's the worst call you can put out over the radio. For you 3 guys, funky honkies, dude. You guys are that's badass shit, dude.
It was wild. And so we got H-40 up, the CHP helicopter. We got deputies, we got chippies, we got everybody out there. And we're pretty confident after a good long search.
How many suspects were down?
3 had been shot, 2 died at the scene, 1 survived. And then there was a female that had the wherewithal to stay inside the car.
Smart girl.
Yeah, and she lived. She was not injured from any gunfire that I know of. But so the dust settles and it all then the real fun starts.
Hey, you thought you were in it before.
Oh, man.
Now the real shit happens.
But I'll tell you. So I forgot all about that. I had a ride along with me.
Hey, you know what? And I laugh because it's so easy to do, because once you've done all that, everything else, and we always talk about this, your world kind of goes,
oh yeah,
it collapses.
Oh yeah.
Everything outside of that really doesn't exist.
Oh yeah.
What was going through your mind during that? In the middle of the shit, what is going through your mind?
I will never forget the first thought I had was anger, instant anger.
Oh yeah.
I was so angry that they were shooting at me. I knew I was going home.
I would tell you this. I've said this before. When I've been in those situations, it's almost like this. You had the balls to shoot at me.
I think that's
what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, yeah, dude, I would tell you this, man. This story has become urban legend because I love you. I love Adam. I love Dirk. You guys are all 3 warriors. Thank God. Think about this. Thank God none of you guys were killed. How quickly, thank God your canine wasn't killed. Thank God that your ride along wasn't killed. Cause I know this, when it's in that situation, bullets are flying in both directions, man, it almost becomes a crapshoot, bro.
It is. And I'll tell you, if you ever wondered if there is a God, get into a shooting, you'll learn real quick, because I'll tell you, there is one.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that his hand protection of me was on me that night. I don't know how close their shots were coming to me. I have no idea. But I know that a gun sounds a lot different when it's being shot at you versus being shot away from you.
Could you hear the zing? Because sometimes for the folks at home, if a bullet gets close enough, you'll hear this. You'll hear the zing go past you.
I don't know. I don't remember if I heard that or not.
Did your hearing shut down?
Yes.
Mine did.
Mine did almost instantly. So I remember being able to hear everything. It just sounded muffled. But so the dust settles. We pull my guy out of the driver's window. He's obviously 1144.
And for the folks at home, 1144 means deceased. Headshots, what are we talking about?
Multiple times in the chest, and then at least 2 or 3 in the mouth. I remember thinking something was wrong with his mouth because his teeth looked all messed up. I shot him in the mouth a couple times, I think. So anyway, we pull him out. He's got a chrome-plated 45, caliber 1911 underneath him. The guy that was shot, that Adam had shot, there was a Browning high power or some type of pistol backed by him. And so, the dust settles, we get everything wrapped up. We got ambulances out there. Everybody's getting treated. And then I walk back to my patrol car and this poor girl is in the glove box, man. She couldn't be up under the dash farther. This poor girl,
Yeah.
We went from no calls all night to a shootout like that,
Yeah.
And, and then the minutes leading up to it, you're in a high speed chase, it's.
Well, and this, we got into this type of work to do stuff like that. And, civilians, man, that's over their threshold of comprehension. How did you process surviving a shootout like that?
So it's kind of weird how I processed it. And it's probably more normal than I thought. I just maybe, at the time I didn't know. So it all settles down. Adam and Dirk are kind of about 20 or 30 feet behind me. And I was so pumped up with adrenaline, but I knew we were all on dash cam, so you can't be like high-fiving or anything that, because then it looks like you're high-fiving over there.
Yeah.
I'm if I was going to high-five somebody, it's like, thank God I'm alive, but you can't, you got to keep it together. Yeah. So I walked over to them and I was like, oh my God, that was the craziest shit that's ever happened. I was like, I was like freaking out, like I was so pumped up from that. So then you get the adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
where now everything's done. And dude, I was tired. I was exhausted.
Oh yeah.
It was like I just ran a marathon. But I couldn't sleep, so we go back to the PD. We're sitting there.
How long did you get held at the PD?
We were there a few hours.
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy. And they asked us, do you want to give a statement tonight or do you want to give a statement tomorrow? Sometimes you remember more the next day. So I think we all agreed we'll come back, the next day to do it. So
smart.
Yeah. And I heard from other officers, I think you might have been one of the people who told me that too, like, just wait.
Yeah.
Because you're still so pumped up on it.
Dude, adrenaline, fight or flight is real. And I always tell people, man, give yourself some time, go home, take a shower, try to sleep. I drink a 12-pack of beer with Doherty, but you got to do something because you're right. All that adrenaline has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know for you guys, man, you guys returned to duty only 2 weeks later, man. And looking back, do you think that was enough?
I don't know if more time would have been better or not. At the time, it seemed like it was enough. But I'll be perfectly honest with you. Before my shooting, I was already on the wrong path in my career. I was already struggling emotionally with what we were doing. I was struggling on a personal level because I was not being in my personal life. My professional life was, whatever. But in my personal life, man, I was falling apart already. Yeah. I didn't recognize it at the time though.
And I would tell you this, brother, I remember seeing you back then.
Yeah.
And there was one time, man, I was walking out as you were walking in, and I remember thinking, what the hell are you doing, bro? Yeah. Your hair was grown out. You looked like you hadn't shaved. Yeah. Your uniform looked like shit. Me, I was always clean as a Safeway chitlin, man. So it's like when I remember seeing you and I remember thinking, man, dude, he looks 11,550, man. You know what I mean? And you just looked rough back then. Do you remember that time?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about. So that was actually before. So my unraveling happened in like 3 distinct phases. The last being like the most sensational. I started unraveling real early on in the job, but didn't know it. I went through divorce from my first wife and felt like I had failed everyone. I'm this good Christian kid, I don't even use swear words and everybody's making fun of me for it in the briefing room. Like, oh, whatever. Yeah. But I just didn't have a foul mouth, Well, then she and I started having trouble and we're getting divorced. Well, I started falling apart, man. I started reaching for anything and I started making some terrible decisions. Yeah, man. And you know what, bro, I could tell you this, man, I've always had a lot of respect for you, man. But dude, what you don't know is, we could all see it on you, bro. Oh yeah.
And, and it's like, unfortunately in law enforcement, I don't know where this comes from, but everyone's like, well, we don't want to say it because then it makes it true. And, but, man, God bless you, man. I mean, honestly, bro, I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole on that for a whole other episode, man. But dude, you did something that a lot of people don't do because 2 months later, you're in another one, and let's talk about that real fast. Yeah. So then just 2 months later, you're involved in another officer involved shooting. Yeah. Folks, in the history of Vice PD, I think you're the number one dude that had shootings that close. Yeah. And I will say this. We used to say behind your back, you're a gunslinger, you're a warrior. But dude, I knew this. There's a price to be paid.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened on Judy.
So 2 months and 2 days later, I come back to work after a couple of weeks. I thought everything's good. I'm pulling into, I think I was pulling into headquarters or something and getting close to the end of my shift. And I hear some units out on some type of disturbance over on West Judy. And then somebody got on the radio and said, shots fired. We got shots fired. So I go hauling butt over there. And what we had was a guy who was in a neighbor dispute with his across the street neighbor. He'd been drinking a bunch. and decided that he was going to make it right by getting a 12-gauge shotgun and crank some rounds off at his neighbor's car parked across the street in his neighbor's driveway. So he had done that. Officers showed up, and as they were showing up, he was cranking off another couple of rounds. So there's shots fired. So of course the cavalry's coming, right?
Yep.
Me being a canine, of course I'm going to be there, because we're gonna see what we can do. So we get into a bit of a standoff with the guy. We are negotiating. When I say we, I mean other officers. I was not negotiating with them. They were negotiating with him at the front door. So this house was kind of a funny setup. It was like a ranch style house. So it was real long, and the front door was, on the same wall as all the front windows. There was no depth to the house. It was all one wall. So I sneak around to the neighbor's yard, and we're hiding in the dark. And if I'm looking straight ahead, the front door opens out to the street. So you wouldn't see me out of your periphery if you were standing out that door. And from where I was hiding with my dog, I could see the shotgun inside the front door. So the person that was negotiating with him, I said, we need to coax him out of the front of the house, get him out far enough. I'll send my dog. We'll take him down in the front yard, get him away from that gun. We're all good. So we get him out to the front yard or whatever, but the guy's real calm. He's not doing anything crazy. So my dog's not entirely sure who he's supposed to be looking at, because the loudest person there is the person having to negotiate with him. And so my dog's not exactly
Remember who
sure.
that was?
I want to say it was CB. I think it was CB. I'm pretty sure it was. And he was doing a great job getting the guy's compliance and the guy's, coming out of the house. Everything was going great. So we get him out far enough, and I send my dog. And that was the plan that we'd come up with. Well, my dog runs out of the yard, and the guy doesn't move right away. So my dog's like, who are we going after?
Yeah.
And the guy like, oh shit, and turns and runs to the back of the house towards the front door. Now my dog knows exactly who we're going after. So my dog's after him, but we've given up probably 3 steps, and
Close enough to get to the gun.
And I thought, if this guy breaks the threshold of the door, I'm shooting him.
Yeah.
Because that gun's right there, and my dog is dead, and I'm running after him. I don't send my dog and let him go. I run after him. He breaks the plane to the door. I shot him twice in the back, and right as my second shot came off, my dog got up underneath him, bit him under his right arm, and drove him past the gun into the living room, held him there for us. We hooked him up, and it ended up working out beautifully. I wish it would have happened in the front yard, because then we wouldn't have had to,
Were you the only one who fired rounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we get him loaded up into an ambulance. I believe he survived.
Okay.
My dog actually, I think he severed his brachial artery, so he almost died as a result of the dog bite.
Gotcha.
But I think he survived.
Dude, and man, your story is, it's interesting talking to you, because I remember all this stuff.
Yeah.
But man, bro, the aftermath of yours, I think your story is probably one of the saddest in law enforcement that I know of. And we're going to get to that, but I would tell you, I was talking to Soriano today from Tulare PD, and his story is equally as sad, dude. I mean, you guys gave your heart and soul to this stuff, and there's definitely a price.
Yeah.
Did those incidents change you?
Absolutely.
More emotionally, mentally?
What it did is it gave me this insatiable thirst for adrenaline and to be stimulated. Like I just couldn't find anything that would make me feel that way. And so everything else became really dull, and you almost feel depressed if you're not doing something dangerous, Oh
yeah.
It was a very weird thing. It was very weird. And I remember feeling like knowing that something was wrong, but I didn't feel bad, but something was definitely not right.
Yeah, man. And dude, I mean, your story is one of just, again, I think at Vice APD, I don't know of anybody that's gotten two shootings that quick.
Yeah, it was surreal. I couldn't even believe it. I remember thinking it's been 2 months and 2 days since I just got into the last one. And then after the second one, I took 3 weeks off.
Let me ask you this. How was the department towards you during that time? Were they being supportive?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was really supportive. They did everything that they were supposed to do. And the truth be told, they could have done even more than what they did, but they couldn't save me from myself.
I was going to say, yeah, there's, this, man, there's something about guys like us. And there's this, we're going to do what we're going to do.
That's
and
just
you
it.
know what, man? And I've often said this, man, it's like, I always try to be the voice of reason to people. And that just comes from, I've just always been the guy that could process things quickly, but man, bro, there's times, man, where, I would either be off and people are like, dude, I wish you would have been there. And I'm like, hey man, but sometimes, bro, it's a blessing not to be there because, man, and for you, brother, I think you've been through probably one of the hardest times that I've ever seen in law enforcement. I think your thing could be studied by psychologists, by departments, because your story is truly a cautionary tale.
Absolutely.
And I'm giving you props by saying that because, again, dude, you went through the worst that a cop can go through, and then you went through it twice, and then you went through it in 2 months back to back. I mean, that's, and so nobody ever told you, hey man, just tough it out. Everyone, yeah, they were cool.
No, everybody was great. The department did all the things they were supposed to, and like I said, there was no saving me from myself.
At what point did you realize, something's wrong?
There was a few different points. So after my divorce from my first wife, man, I started making some really bad decisions.
You want to go into any of those?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me at all. Well, that's not true. It bothers me a lot, but I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
So after my divorce, I had an affair with another officer's wife. And you want to talk about the kiss of death on not only your career. Obviously, that's a bad career move. But spiritually, it's spiritual suicide.
Yeah.
And I was already feeling the weight from getting a divorce. I felt like I'd failed everybody, my family. I'd let everybody down. My wife, I hurt her, all these things.
Plus, for the folks at home, Daniel was married to a woman whose stepfather was one of our captains.
That was my second wife.
Second wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done this a few times.
Yeah. But so that was even a different scenario because most of us didn't have to deal with that. And he was still working there at that time.
So, that all happens. And man, I hurt their family immensely. I hurt myself immensely. So I was already struggling. Man, I was having dreams. I still have dreams about their family to this day. Just there's some things that no matter how much I try to forgive myself for the things I've done wrong, you don't ever forget those things, And so
have you guys all made amends now or?
No. And okay. I don't know that would ever be possible. Not because I wouldn't want to, but because maybe that's just not in the cards. But when we get, so I was still carrying the weight of that, that was of all the no-nos, that's the big one. Don't do that,
Yeah.
And so, that situation ends. I move down the road here. I find my second wife who I have 2 children with, 2 little girls. And, we got together, but it was still kind of in the wake of all that other stuff. So it presented some issues, but I was certain at that time, just put it behind you and move on. Put it behind you and move on, but I didn't do any real work on myself to correct that.
Now, do they send you to Kawagoa, the psychologist up in Fresno and all that? That's a quick thing.
That was a fast thing.
I was going to say, it's a 1 session deal for you. You probably should have been going to something weekly, dude.
I should have been.
Because honestly, bro, you've been through more than most cops, I think.
Well, when Kawagoa came down, it was, he was, I think he's on his way out of town for vacation when the first shooting happened. So he stopped what he was doing, came to Visalia to talk with me. But that was like a 20, 30-minute deal. He's trying to get out of town, And of course, I'm in there saying, I'm good. No big deal.
Yeah.
Of course, Then the second one, he's like, man, I feel like I was just here. And I'm like, oh, you just were. And he's like, well, do you have any questions or anything like that? And I was like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, what's he supposed to do in that situation? Like, you know?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something, bro. Obviously you weren't fine. And,
No.
and here's the problem with cops. 2 words we always say, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And we're not.
No.
And you know what, man, bro, I mean, dude, when I was just at a party and I brought your name and, I mean, there were some people, it was 50-50. There were some love you, some hate you.
Yeah.
And, but I've told people, I honestly said this even before this episode. I've said, bro, that guy has been through the ringer, and I applaud you, brother.
I appreciate
and I'm going to tell you that, and I'm not just saying that, dude, you are a warrior, but there's a price to pay to be a warrior.
Yeah.
And, man, you were honestly, man, you were a phenomenal cop, dude. Like guys that I look, that I really admire are the people that laid it all on the line. You're one of them. Adam's one of them.
Yeah,
KG, those people, man, because I know what this job has taken from us. And can you describe the incident that led to your first write-up for Conduct Unbecoming?
Yeah. So this all kind of happened together. This was like kind of my second phase of unraveling. I was not being faithful to my wife. I was being an absolute scumbag, chasing any woman that I, whatever. I mean, it was just everything that you could do wrong that they tell you in the academy when you're reciting the law enforcement code of ethics. I was doing all of it wrong.
Now, were you using that? Or
No.
Okay.
In fact, I wasn't even really drinking then either, because drinking was never part of my world or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I became friends with some people outside of law enforcement. It had nothing to do with law enforcement, and they were drinkers. So I started drinking on the weekends. No big deal. Well, they were getting into some trouble, not trouble, but they were doing things they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
And, the likelihood of me pulling them out and showing them the high road was 0.0 chance of snowball in hell, So, I started, doing the things. I was already doing some of that myself. And then I found a group of guys that were, totally fine with it. And we were just, being idiots together.
And I would say this for the folks at home, cops tend to only hang out with cops because when we hang out with civilians, we tend to get put in positions that will screw up our careers.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not good to just hang out with nothing but cops.
Yeah.
I think it's toxic. But the problem that we run into is, again, and I don't know the people you were hanging out with, man, but I can only imagine.
It was guys that just self was the most important. What do I want to do right now? What's going to make me happy right now? What's going to make me feel good right now? And I became just completely detached from everything that I knew was right. Anything that my parents taught me, now I'm carrying on top of it the guilt and shame of the things that I had done before, of hurting my own family, that other officer's family. The guilt and shame alone was unbearable. I used to go home and I'd cry and I'd just like sit around. It took me months and months and months to be able to get out of it. So now I'm chasing women, I'm drinking with my buddies, thinking everything's fine or whatever. And those shootings happen. So now my ego now is out of control, absolutely out of control, because I'm a cop hanging out with guys that are not in law enforcement, and they're wanting to talk about all this stuff, and they're patting me on the back, whatever. And by now I am totally detached from everything that I know is the right thing to do. So the first incident where I got written up for Conduct Unbecoming, I was having an affair with a woman, and it was ending poorly. And it was going to end badly. And I was just trying to mitigate the damage. I was trying to figure out a way to keep that grenade from going off. So things end or whatever, a couple months go by, there's no contact anymore. And I thought everything's good, So I'd been at the Elks Lodge.
Wait. Is this the one that showed up at your house?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm at the Elks Lodge that night for a Group B board meeting, whatever. After the meeting, a couple cocktails or whatever. And I'm feeling great. My life is kind of back on track. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can salvage this thing. I get a call from this lady out of the blue, and I was not ready for it. And I don't remember exactly what was said, but I remember about 2 minutes later hearing some brakes screech in front of my car, and I look out of her car, and she's charging up to the door, So I'm trying to keep her out of the house. I've got my wife and my daughters in the house. They're babies.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, they're little.
Yeah.
But I mean, this stuff is like, it's embarrassing. It's humiliating.
Plus, man, this is just something out of a movie,
and it's,
bro.
this is Jerry Springer happening in my driveway, you know?
Hey, she shows up. I'm here to declare my love, man. You're like, hey, dude. Dude,
it was crazy. So this whole thing happens. She ends up calling the PD. And so they took me down to get my statement. And after it was all said and done, they wrote me up. They said,
for
conduct unbecoming, because I'm having an affair.
Oh, okay.
Now it's bleeding over into my professional. Now the cops are getting called. Now this is getting bad, dude. So the department they wrote me up and they said, we care about you and we love you, but what you're doing is wrong and you need to pull yourself together. Stop what you are doing. And I'll never forget sitting in that lieutenant's office, bawling my eyes out, saying, I cannot believe this is what my life has come to. This will never happen again. You won't see me in here for this again. They said, just make sure it doesn't, because if it does, it's not going to be good.
Do you remember the LT?
Yeah, it was Candy was the LT at the time.
Was that the time where you warned about if this happens again, you're going to be terminated and all that? And
I will tell you, even in writing me up, they treated me fairly. Nobody was like, you base, you know.
Yeah.
They just said, hey, dude, like, you need to stop what you are doing. And
hindsight's 20/20, man.
Yeah, man.
I wish you could have got help, but I know this. Here's the problem, dude.
Yeah.
We all think I got it under control.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just white knuckle. I'll get through this stuff.
I'll just stop doing that thing.
Yeah.
That ain't how it works, dude. Because at this point, you know, the shootings happened and I was already involved in that. And when you start living in a lie and your life becomes a lie, you got to lie every day to keep that up.
Yeah.
And every day that lie's got to get a little bit bigger, and every day it's got to get a little worse. You start and then pretty soon you find yourself lying about stuff that don't even matter.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you have for lunch today? Oh, I had McDonald's. Man, I had Taco Bell, but I'm lying about it, you know? So they wrote me up and I was going to be a good boy. I didn't do anything to fix the real underlying problem, which was me. I just tried to stop doing the thing, and that didn't work.
Real quick, I am a master storyteller, and let me tell you guys a story. I like to tell a story every episode. My dad was married 9 times, okay? So I've got some relatives, some half-siblings. I was the cop. They're outlaws. Mm-hmm. So I had a half-sister, and we'll leave her name out of it, but she was dating the president of the Hells Angels in Fresno. Now, we have different moms, same dad. Mm-hmm. We were not raised together. I don't have anything to do with these people. Mm-hmm. I don't have their phone numbers to this day. I have no way of contacting them. And, but every time she would get in trouble with Tulare PD or Visalia PD, Jay's my brother.
Call my brother.
And so, I would get these calls and I would have to say, hey guys, I don't really know her. I'm not going to get involved. If you got something to cook her, but leave me out of it.
Sure.
So this is 2014. I'm now working at, I'm the downtown officer, and I get a call from McIntosh, and he was the lieutenant, and he goes, hey, Jay, where are you at? And I said, oh, boss, I'm down here just walking around downtown. Nothing's going on. I said, I ran out of a couple bums earlier, but pretty quiet day. And he goes, I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to tell you. And, my sister had died a few years earlier, so I kind of thought maybe my mom had died. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, just tell me, brother. And he goes, I've got your house surrounded now with 4 cops. And I go, the fuck you got my house surrounded for? And he's like, somebody called 911 and identified themselves as your sister. And she said that you have her tied up in your house. And I was like, I don't even know these people. And he's like, well, you need to come let us in. Dude, I get in my car. Dude, I'm going down Goshen 125 miles an hour. I could have pissed nails. I was so pissed off, right? But dude, I lived over there by Oak Grove School, dude, in a very nice neighborhood. Yeah. All my neighbors are standing out in the front, dude. I mean, it's something out of a movie,
circus, bro.
Yeah. And I'm like, so I walk up and I'm like, hey man, I was like, dude, this is bullshit. And he goes, open the door for us but don't go in.
Yeah.
So I opened the door and Brokoff's there, and all my partners are giving me the side eye, like, Jay, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, this is bullshit. But anyways, so they get their guns out, they go in my house, they search my house, and they come out and they're like, house is clear. So I lock my door and I turn around and I'm beelining from my car. And so, the bosses are like, hey, Jay, we'll talk to you. And I was like, meet me at the city manager's office, right? I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, that's not necessary. You're not going to be in any trouble. I said, I'm not in trouble, but somebody here is. And dude, so I get in my car. Well, they walk over to the window. I don't roll it down. I drive off, dude. They get me on the radio. Hey, 25 back here. Negative. Meet me at the city manager's office, right? I'm pissed, dude. I'm going down Goshen at 100 miles an hour, dude. I pull up, dude, and Mestis is waiting for me. Mm-hmm. She's like, don't go in there, Jay. She goes, I'm just telling you. She goes, look, Jay, mistakes were made here. And I was like, here's the problem. Nobody had the wherewithal to call me to ask me about this person, because I could have told you I don't know them, right? I know of them, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
I damn sure wasn't going to have anybody tied up in my house.
Right.
And I said, but now I got to live with my neighbors. When I got home that night, my neighbor came over there. He's like, Jay, what the hell's going on?
What
right.
kind of
and I'm like, I thought I was cooking meth in my house or whatever. But it illustrates the thing of this. Bad actors, going off script, not being good supervisors. All it would have took was a phone call. I could have met my supervisor there. I could have unlocked the door. He could have went in and we could have did this very low key, right? But no, what do? We have this big old operation. SWAT gonna go hit my house on a full done SWAT hit. And dude, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
And guess what? There were no ramifications to anybody. Nobody got in trouble. But again, that in a nutshell shows how easily shit goes sideways for us.
Out of nowhere.
And here I am doing my job downtown, fat, dumb, and happy. And then now we're in this, and it actually destroyed relationships, because after that, some supervisors that were there, I was like, I'll never talk to you again.
Yeah,
right. And because dude, to flip it, dude, if I'd have done that to you, you'd have been like, what the hell? You know what I mean? After everything you'd been through, how did your lifestyle change?
So it just progressively got worse. I was lying about everything. I was chasing women. I was drinking all the time. And then I got invited to a bachelor party in Lake Havasu with a bunch of my buddies.
Have a brew, have a screw. Welcome to Havasu.
Buddy. And I was in a bad way when I got there. I was just all of the things that I had created for myself, all the messes were all coming to head all at once. Yeah. And my chickens were coming home to roost for sure. And so I'm in Havasu with a bunch of guys. One of them was like, hey, man, we should go in the bathroom, whatever, And I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, you want to try some of this? And he offered me some cocaine. And I was ripe for falling apart. Wow. Like all I needed was the most gentle nudge. So I tried cocaine that night for the very first time. And the moment, and I'm not kidding you, this is not hyperbolic. The moment I did it, I remember thinking to myself, oh, shit, I'm in trouble.
What's like that scene from Kill Bill, where like he's got the mirror, it's got some lines on it, and he's like, "Here, baby, be somebody," right? And it's sad, man, because and you know what? Through the years, people have offered me every drug known to man.
Yeah,
and I just tell people, hey, man, and it's especially since I've retired, we show up at certain parties.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And now people know that I'm not in the business, and people are like, here, man, try this. And I'm like, nah, dude, whiskey's too rough. Champagne costs too much. And vodka puts my mouth in gear. I like beer, you know what I mean? And I just drink beer. Yeah. But I can tell you, man, for somebody like you, I could totally see, bro, that now You're already going down
Yep.
you're already going down the toilet, and then this just comes along and just goes.
Yeah. And to be clear, this was a misery of my own making. Nobody did it to me. Nobody had it in for, I mean, some people had it in for me, but because I screwed them over, I mean, rightfully so. And so now I'm going to live this life and fast forward, dude.
Because I think you just did it to cope or escape, or
I did it because pardon my French, but I caught a bad case of the fuckets.
Yeah.
I was like,
whatever.
We're just going to nose this thing into the ground, And so I tried coke that first time, and from that day on, it was all I could think about, but I wasn't using it all the time. I didn't have access to it all the time. And I was afraid like, oh, this is probably going to ruin my life. I probably should chill out. But it progressively got worse.
Were you using on duty or?
Well, at the very end, I wasn't originally. At the very end, the last probably 2 months of my career, I was using every single day, whether I was at work or not, because I couldn't, if I didn't, I was going to crash,
Well, I was going to say, and for the folks at home, what's scary about that? Because if you would have gotten to a shooting and they would have drawn your blood and you would have coke in there, you'd probably be in prison, dude.
So here's the funny thing. After however many days of using or whatever, this is the very end, we get a call of a man with a gun right outside of District 1. He's running southbound on Northwest 3rd, and I'm around the corner. So most of the time, man with a gun's like, whatever. They don't have a gun, but whatever. I pull up, and this little dude's running down the sidewalk with a revolver in his hand. I jump out, and I pull my gun out, and I was like, I cannot shoot him. I'm going to die right here. But you have to understand where I was at my life at that point. I wanted to die. I did not want to kill myself, but I wanted to die in some way that didn't look like my fault, so that my family didn't have to hang their head in shame because this piece of garbage who was supposed to be doing the right thing was always doing the wrong thing. And I prayed right before I started pulling trigger. I was like, God, please do not let him raise that gun. And he stopped, and he dropped it, and he sat down on the curb. I don't even think I said anything. And I was shook after that. Dude, I was so shook because my life is now spiraling out of control. I am absolutely out of control. I'm combat ineffective. I'm now a danger to myself and everybody around me because I can't do the thing I need to do. And statistically, when you get into one shooting, you're more likely to get into another. And that if you get into a second one, statistically, you're even more likely to get into a third.
For the folks at home, he's totally right. Here's what happens. The first time you pull a trigger, once you get over that threshold, the next time it's easier. Yeah. And then the next time it's easier. Visalia, I mean, I don't think it's on the books, but I think if you get in 3, they got to rip you off the streets. And, I would tell you, and I think at 3, I think they should just retire people out because honestly, I just, not too many people can come back. Well, and you're the prime example, dude. You were a warrior, dude. And here you go through this, and now you're in the throes of addiction, partying, probably alcoholism, addiction, drugs, self-loathing, all these things. When did you finally realize, man, I'm fully addicted?
I think I realized really quickly, but it started becoming more apparent as time went on. And then I was using on all of my days off. And then like I promised I wouldn't do, I'm not going to get into any relationships outside of my marriage. I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, I did. Right. And ended up getting into a dispute with this girl that I'm seeing on the side while I was at work, and a citizen overheard it. Because
now, don't quote me. Was there one where you threw somebody out of a car?
That was after I was already. I'm not laughing because it's funny. This doesn't even seem like my real life, but it's real.
I know. Here's the thing. I'm not laughing at this stuff because I'm just laughing that these things really happen, man. Dude. And, dude, I mean, because I remember the car incident where I was like, holy schmoly, macaroni, man. We're off into some crazy shit.
We're already in craziness, and it's not even as crazy as it got yet, And so when I think about it now, because I have 1,623 days clean and sober.
God bless you, brother. God bless you, man.
I earned every one of those days. I worked my ass off for those days. But when I look back at my life, it does not seem real. And so I ended up getting into a dispute with this person on duty. A citizen heard it. They called in and said, "Hey, this guy is yelling at this lady," right? And any reasonable citizen would have done that, right? So they call in, they start an IA, they said, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was honest. I said, "It wasn't just any citizen. I'm seeing somebody outside of my marriage. We got in an argument, blah, blah, blah."
So now they're like, "We told you not to do it.
So
You
now,
did it."
so now that the IA happens, I know it's probably not gonna be good, but I'm hoping for the best. And then I come to work one night, and they call me in the office, and I'll never forget it. 4 sergeants were in there, and they said, "Hey, dude, we know that you're going through some major shit, and you're getting put on admin leave. We need to take your stuff, but when you come back, it's going to be here for you. We love you." The amount of support that they gave me.
I would tell you this, dude. You know who I just was talking to? Jennings.
Love that guy.
And he spoke very highly of you. He even said, you know, we were kind of talking, and I kind of told him some of the stuff you were going through, and he goes, "I kind of thought he was using, but he's like, I didn't want to destroy him." And you know what? Jennings is a cool dude, and you know, and I would tell you this, man. All of us during that time, you know, man, I knew this. You were going through the worst time that an officer can ever go through.
It was terrible.
And you know what, brother? It's a testament to you. I can tell you something, dude. You look 1,000 times better than you were back then, dude.
I was a shell of myself. So, you know, that all happened, and then they put me on admin leave. Jennings was there. Feller was there. Amazing men that matter to me.
Yeah.
That I love dearly to this day. And then, you know, the IA drug on and on and on. I was like, this is not be good. And then they called me in one morning, and they said, "Hey, man, the recommendation is that you terminated." And I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. I was ashamed. I was so embarrassed of myself. I wasn't mad at anybody else. I mean, I knew I was the creator of all of my own destruction. You know, nobody was doing me dirty. I was doing myself
and I
dirty.
would tell you something for the folks at home. I went and testified in your Skelly hearing, trying to help you keep your job, because folks, and this makes me emotional to say this, Bam, but I've seen what this job does to people, bro. And when I can help people, I never miss a chance to do so.
Yeah.
And because I know this, man, there were times when I needed help and I didn't get it. And so, you know what? I live my life in a way of when somebody needs help, I'm going to try to help.
I've told you before, but you have no idea what that meant to me. You and Brian Young came in there and spoke on my behalf. And I was not a person who deserved that.
Yeah.
I didn't deserve it. And the fact, and not that nobody else would have, but I painted myself to such a corner that why would anybody?
Yeah, you know? I would tell you this, man. I remember us talking outside that building that day. And I knew you were at an uphill battle, man, because, well, number one, I've never seen the chief reverse himself in a Skelly.
No.
And so there's that. But I just knew this, man. Sometimes, dude, doing the right thing and trying to help people, I'll always do it. And you know what, man? I mean, I remember us talking out there. Yeah. Dude, running into you that day at Target, you will not believe, dude. You will not believe how healing that was. You walked up to me. You gave me a big old hug. It was good to see you smile again. It was good to see you to be the old happy-go-lucky Daniel. And I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
And dude, there was a sergeant there that day that walked by. He's a miserable son of a bitch. And I was like, dude, leave, dude. But you, dude, I'm proud of you, dude. And I'm proud of you having the guts to come on here and tell your story, because I think your story can help somebody, brother.
You know, I'm definitely not the only person who struggled with substance abuse and law enforcement, obviously. But I will tell you that the substance abuse was just a symptom of my problem.
Yeah.
That was a symptom at the end of my problem. My number one issue was me.
Well, I think for you too, dude, you're dealing with mental health issues, coupled with alcoholism, coupled with drug addiction, coupled with self-loving,
Lying,
coupled with I mean, just it was that perfect storm that all comes together. And so the 415 on duty, that was the one that finally got
straw
you.
that broke the
Okay,
camel's
at 415, folks, that's just a disturbance at your house. What was it like getting that notice of termination and realizing, man, my career is over? What was that like?
It was devastating because I had been living in denial for so long that I'm not going to get fired. They love me here. And I think people generally speak, certainly not everybody, and a lot of people that didn't like me had very good reason not to. But I think generally people like me. I got along with people for the most part. And so I convinced myself that you're not going to get fired, dude. This is just going to, you can take your ride up. You're going to take your lumps. You're going to
take a month on the beach without pay.
Whatever it is, take your lumps, admit what you did wrong because you did wrong, and you move on. Then they give me that notice that they're recommending termination, and my whole world came crashing down.
Oh, yeah.
So now I've got a family that I'm no longer going to be providing for, right? I've got a drug addiction. I'm a liar.
Sid, was she a nurse by then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So at least
we were okay, but like you losing half of your income, you know? So I got all these things going on, and on top of it, I'm not ready to be honest with anybody about my problems. So I'm a liar every day, and it was killing me, right? So
was that about the time that your dog died?
Yeah. So
what happened with that?
So
I mean, I know we got out of the backyard and got over our Mooney and all that.
So basically, I had gone back to work in construction. I was falling apart, man. I was doing my best just to make some money to contribute something to the family. Still had my dog. We've been partners for 9 years. So
did they come get the kennel and all that?
No, because he had been with me long enough. Okay. So I signed my paperwork. I gave the city $1, you know, because they got to sell them to you. So you sign your paperwork. He's now your responsibility. And so life is just falling apart around me everywhere. Every time I turn around, something else is falling apart. So I'm back in construction, making half of what I made before, feeling like even worse piece of garbage. Not that there's anything wrong with construction, but now I'm making half the money. Yeah. I don't even, I've been a cop for a long time. I don't even remember what I'm doing. So I go to work one day and I'm struggling even to get there on time. I'm struggling to learn anything. And the guy that hired me is doing me a huge favor. Sticking his neck out there for a guy who's busted and disgusted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm already struggling at work, and he calls me over and he's like, "Hey man, let's go to lunch." And I'm like, "Oh God." And construction is never good when your boss asks you to go to lunch, dude. It ain't gonna be good. So we're driving, and he's like driving to my house. And the night before, it was pouring down rain. I had just got home with my daughters, and I had left my house keys inside. They were not on my same key as my truck key, or my same ring. So the door's locked. So I grab my girls. We go around the back where the door's unlocked, and we go inside. Well, I didn't close the gate. And Zero was in the house, and then he had wandered out because I forgot to close the gate. And so we're looking for him, and I can't find him anywhere, which is weird because if he ever did get out, he'd just wander around the front yard. So at that time, now mind you, there was some stuff that happened between there. 7 days after I was let go from the police department, and my appeal did not go through, I was arrested for getting into a domestic violence incident with this woman that I was seeing.
Oh, wow. See, I don't even know if I knew that. Okay. All right.
I told you the story. I told you. So I just lost my job. Now I'm going to jail. So my poor wife, she's like, "What the man? Like there's nothing she can do to stop."
Well, at that point, to be honest, man, you could have fucked up a cup of coffee, bro. You were just.
If I touched it, I was ruining it. So so I'd already been in jail. So I'm just like trying to get out of this. I lied to my boss and said, "Oh, I wasn't feeling good, but I was going to jail." So so I take my girls inside, and I was in an argument with somebody on the phone, and we were having some big old blowout over some stupid thing that drug addicts argue over, whatever that was, and forgot to close the gate. Couldn't find my dog that night. I was so amped up about the other thing. I just like, whatever. So my boss takes me, calls me, says, "Hey, let's go to lunch." He drives me to my house, and Sid's out there in the driveway. She's crying. I'm like, "God, please don't let it be my dog.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I got left, And he had gotten out. Excuse me. He gotten out of the yard and he had wandered up to Mooney and it was dark. Man, he got hit by a car.
Yeah, man. I remember when that happened, bro. You know, I remember somebody asked me one time, "Hey, man, did he kill that dog?" And I was like, "No, dude. The dog stumbled out. I remember I got hit on Mooney. I remember that. And you know, man, bro, I could only imagine, man. And you know, bro, from me to you, your story is of such redemption, bro.
Yeah, thank God, because you know, in that moment, you feel like. I learned real early on to stop. Don't ever ask what else could go wrong.
Because it can always get worse. Yeah.
And, you know, my dog had just got hit. And so.
Were you still using during that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dog gets hit, whatever. Fast forward a little bit of time, get into another incident with the same person where we get into this big old blowout or whatever, where I pushed her out of my truck. And I got arrested again.
Jesus.
For kidnapping, for domestic violence. And now my ex-wife, she's like, I'm done. This is the point at which I know I cannot go any farther.
Is that girl that you threw out of the truck, is that the fiance now?
Yeah. So my life could be a movie, a really bad movie.
You kind of come full circle, dude.
We were both using, at the time, we were both alcohol, cocaine. So Sid was done. She said, "You're done. You gotta go." Anymore. So I move in with my parents, and they buy me this little trailer to live in. And now, if you could even imagine it, right? I've lost everything. I've lost my career. I've lost my family. I lost my dog, which was like, my dog's not more important than all those things, but it was like, but that's
family
all
though.
I had left,
Yeah,
you know?
he's family, bro.
So my parents buy this little trailer, and now I'm like, and I'm getting kicked out of their house too, because I'm this piece of shit. And I was, you know? So I'm living in this little trailer. I still live there today. It's my little palace, you know? But at that point, I now had no career. COVID had started. I'd lost my construction job. My dog's gone. And right before that, Sid came to me. First of all, Sid is the most amazing. She is the most amazing human being I know. And she came to me and she said, "You can't be around the girls anymore."
Yeah, I can see that.
And I said, "You're right. You're right. I can't, because I'm falling apart." And we didn't fight over it. I just said, "I understand." And
and God bless you, brother.
At that point, I was using a quarter ounce of cocaine a day.
Jesus.
I was using $400 worth of coke every single day. And COVID was happening, so nobody had anywhere to be.
That was a weird time in just society.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
People talk about COVID like, "Oh man, remember when this happened?" I'm like, nope. I don't remember that at all. I was so spun off my gourd. I was scratching lottery tickets. Dude, I was so out of it, dude. I was using every day, and I was living the life of a tweaker. Bad. I wasn't brushing my teeth. I wasn't taking showers. Dude, I was doing things that was just so far.
Where were you scoring all this stuff, man?
Oh, just some paisa. He thought it was great, dude. I was his best customer. I told him, I said, "If you got kids, I'll put them through college, dude."
Yeah.
So I was using that every day, and then Sid came to me and said, you can't see the girls anymore."
Everyone's got to have that rock bottom moment.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I got to do something. I didn't know what to do. I had been talking about recovery, but I didn't understand it, didn't know what it was, thought I was too good, thought I could stop on my own. And when I wasn't allowed to see the girls anymore, I remember I'd wake up, I'd cry, I'd go back to sleep, and then I'd wake up and cry and go back to sleep for 3 weeks. I couldn't stop. And finally one day, I just got down on my knees and I said, "God, I know you're there, but I'm desperate.
Yeah.
I'm desperate. I need you. I need you to save me because I'm lost. And I need you to save me." And it didn't happen right that moment. But Sid told me right after that, she said, "If you agree to get help, I'll keep you on my insurance. You go to Kaiser,
Yeah, get you some rehab.
Get you some rehab. So I said, I'm doing it. I don't care if they tell me to stand on my head and stack BBs. I'll do whatever you tell me. I'm getting help. And so at the time, because of COVID, this is all on computer. This was not in person. I didn't have a computer. I just had my phone. So they said, so up and leading up to this, I've been playing phone tag with the guy that runs their addiction medicine. But because of COVID, he wasn't in the office. So I had to leave him a voicemail. Then he would call and get his voicemail. Then he would call me, but he called me from a blocked number and it wouldn't go through. It would go straight to voicemail. Well, one day I got a phone call on my way to go pick up more dope, and a call came through. And by this time, nobody was calling me. Nobody. I was radioactive. I was done, dude. I mean, everybody's like, what do we do? There's nothing anybody can do.
Honestly, dude, during those times, I remember thinking, I'm going to read about you offing yourself.
You were going to read about me dying.
Yes.
I still didn't want to kill myself, but I was going to OD for sure.
Yeah.
And so I'm driving to go get more dope, and Cole Powers, who ran the program, said, Daniel, it's Cole. I pulled over to the side of the road so fast. I said, Cole, I can't stop, dude. And you got to get me in. I don't care what I have to do, but you got to get me in. He said, you be online tomorrow. I'm going to send you the link to your email. You be online tomorrow. So like any good addict, I was like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to recovery. I better go get my dope today. Idiot, dude. So I went.
I'm going out with one big glass of raw. Yeah.
So I was in my little trailer using coke, scratching lottery tickets. And I remember I just put everything down. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. So I sat there from 1:30 in the morning till 7:30 in the morning when my meeting started, just watching the clock on the microwave, bouncing my legs, waiting. So I log in, the lady comes on, and she's like, welcome everybody, and everybody's happy, and they're getting recovered. I'm like, what the hell is everybody so happy about? There ain't nothing to be happy about, you know? And I just broke down. I started crying. I said, I don't even know where to start, but I need help. And I'm watching myself do it on the computer because the camera's facing me on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm watching myself do this like an out-of-body experience. And that was my first step in recovery. That was May 13th.
Think about this, bro. Thank God you had the balls to do it, man, because I could tell you this. You know, we've dealt with a lot of tweakers, man. I put a lot of tweakers in jail, dude. And it always just seems like weak constitutional people, man. But thank God you had, well, I think for you, it was either get clean, get busy living, or get busy dying, brother.
And I was on a fast track to death.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is I was imagining what would be said about me if I just died in that trailer. Like, this guy did all these things, and now this is what he was reduced to. And I have two beautiful little girls who needed a dad. You know, they needed their dad. And so anyway, I started recovery. The girl I'm with started with me. We got clean together. May 13th, 2021 is my clean date. And their requirement is that you go to outside meetings beyond these two groups I was doing a day. They said you go to AA if you're an alcoholic, Narcotics Anonymous. So the next day, I was like, well, I don't know where the Narcotics Anonymous groups meet, but I'll find out. So I found out they have one at the Alano Club, of all places. The place where we drive down, you know, to see all these people.
You know? Dude, you know what's so funny? Me and my wife, we love those ribs at the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, those ribs are so good. I dream about them sometimes. And I'll see those people at the Alano Club, and, you know, man, and I know a lot of people look down on that place, but dude, God bless it, dude, because I think people are there because they want to get clean. Yeah,
some are, and some want to figure out a better way to use. It's different for everybody. But imagine going in there as an ex-cop who's now, I probably hooked 10 people in that room for 11.5 at some point, and I'm like walking in. I didn't even know which door to go in. So I walk in, and the lady at the front's like, can I help you? And I'm like, is there a meeting here? And she's like, yeah, well, it's in there. And I was like, okay, good, because I'm dying inside. And she's like laughed, and I kind of laughed, and I was like, this is it. So I walked through that room, certain that I wouldn't be allowed in there because, you know, nobody wants a cop in there.
Yeah.
It was a Friday night book study, and there was 30 people in the room, and I walked in, and everybody's laughing and cutting up, and they asked me who I was. I told them who I was, and I don't know who said it, but somebody said, welcome home.
Yeah.
Man, I hadn't been home for years. I hadn't been anywhere where anybody wanted me. I hadn't been anywhere where I was welcome, dude. I had worn out my welcome everywhere. This was
Yeah.
the last house on the street, dude. This was it.
God bless you, brother.
So
God bless you, man.
I went in there and I knew I was done. I knew there's no looking back. So May 13th of 2021, I got clean. And I started slowly getting my spiritual health back in order, my mental health back in order. Started relying on a power greater than myself, you know. I started praying again. I got back into the word again. So for anybody who ever wonders, like, is there a God or is there not a God? I'm living proof that there is a God and he loves us. And nothing we could do could separate us from that love, but we got to be willing to come back, you know.
I tell you something, dude. I one day, man, I was on a call and your gal came across the street. And I remember, dude, I could tell she was just pinging, dude. She was spun, right? And we were there for like, I want to say it's like some burglar alarm or something. She comes across and she's like, you know who Daniel is? And all, right? And I was like, yeah, I know who Daniel is. And I was like, but hey, check this out real fast. You got to get the fuck up out of here because we're doing some cop shit, right? And so I come out and she was like, and I would tell you something for the folks at home. I just ran into you guys at the coast and they had just got engaged like 10 minutes prior.
Yeah. Dude,
she looks great.
Yeah.
You look great. You deserve to be happy. She deserves to be happy. And dude, I'm more proud of you than what, and I'm not just saying this for this.
No, I
you know
appreciate
this, I mean it, because I have a lot of respect for you, brother. You know, man, you once were lost, but now you're found, man. And you know, for you, man, especially, man, just to get arrested a couple of times, being a cop, 4 times. I mean, dude, that's got to be an emotional roller coaster right there. You know,
it was a nightmare.
Whatever happened with all those cases?
So the first incident, it was never
filed. And I don't want to see you do anything more than 7-year state prison, right?
The first case was never filed. The second one, I pled to a misdemeanor. So, you know, I went from being a cop, 17 years being a cop, and not even allowed to own guns anymore, you know.
Yeah, folks, when we got here today, I was like, hey, dude, why don't you bring in your off-duty carry? And he's like, Jay, I'm not allowed to possess firearms. And I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot, right?
You know, it's funny. Like for anybody listening, I'm laughing not because it's a laughing, because it's not comical. It's just like, is this even real? You know, like I made such a mess of my life that when I talk about it, it's like, what an idiot, you know? Yeah,
but you know what, bro? I'm hoping that your story can be, it can help. If it helps one person, then it's worth it, brother.
I hope so.
And I can tell you this, it will. Dude, I mean, you know, this whole interview, I've been emotional more so than times past. And because I think your story is probably one of the saddest I've ever seen. I think I'm doing one next week, folks, that his story is his might be a little bit even sadder than yours. But you know, I just say this, these are cautionary tales.
Yeah.
And, but man, you know, again, man, there's something about being warriors. I got lucky, bro. I got really lucky, because dude, I mean, I spent a lot of years chasing women. But you know what? I got to see a lot of people mess up, and I got to learn of what not to do. And, you know, I can tell you this, man, you know, are you rekindled with the girls? And okay.
So Sid and I worked really hard. It took a lot of work. There was a lot of hurt that I caused, and I had to come to terms with that. And part of the recovery process, if you're in a 12-step program or you don't know what they are, part of your 12 steps is getting to a point where you make amends.
Yeah, you got to go and apologize to all the people you've hurt.
And the reality is that there's some people that you won't be able to make an amends to. There's some people that you can, and then there's other people that you make a living amends to. I might not be able to go talk to that person because they might not want to talk to me. So what I do is I live a life where I won't ever do those things again. You know, that's my living amends, because I hurt a lot of people.
I would tell you this. I had a really weird weekend. Okay. So Friday we go to a Halloween party. I run into somebody and they go, hey, Jay, who's your next episode? I go, Daniel. They're like, hey man, screw him.
Yeah.
He hooked up with my wife.
Yeah.
And then Saturday we go downtown and we're having drinks at a bar. I run into another cop. Hey, who's your next episode? Daniel. Screw him.
Yeah.
He had sex with my wife. And I could tell you this, man. I knew you were out of control, bro, but I could tell you something, dude. Your story is probably one of the best stories ever because it's such a positive outcome afterwards.
Thank God, because I was going to die that way. And there were some people that probably would have been happy to see me die that way. And I don't blame them. The things that I was doing, I was just reckless and I was hurting everybody around me. If you got sucked into my storm, it was going to hurt. And then I became so radioactive, it's like you couldn't even be around me without just some shit getting on you, and so it was a terrible time because I hurt so many people, and forgiving others for things that have happened to me is one thing, but forgiving myself for the things that I've done, man, that's been a hard process.
That's a harder thing, man,
because I carry that guilt and shame all the time, and I finally at some point told myself, okay, you're allowed to live with regret, but you're not allowed to live in shame anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, brother, you've earned the right to be happy. And you know what? Well, dude, you've been clean for 4 years, 5 months, 10 days.
Yeah.
Dude, how does it even feel to even say that, dude?
It feels like I climbed Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that's what it was. That was my Everest, quitting doing all that. The drugs was the first thing I quit. That's the first thing I had to do to be able to get down to the core of my issues. And the core of my issues is selfishness and self-centeredness.
Did you have to go through like DTs or do you have to go through?
I did withdraw really bad, but my withdrawal was like I would sleep for like 17, 18 hours a day. I'd wake up to go to a meeting. I'd go back to sleep. I'd wake up to go to another meeting. So in my first 90 days in recovery, I went to like 120 meetings. I was in a meeting all day because I didn't want to go back.
Well, I was going to say, idle hands is the devil's plaything, dude.
And that was my life.
What has been the hardest part for you staying clean?
The hardest part is coming to the realization that drugs weren't my problem, that I am my problem. Yeah. I hate this saying, but it's true. Whenever I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I am the problem.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to swallow because life is really not about what happens to you. It's about how you react to it. And I was reacting to everything completely disproportionately to what was happening to me. I remember running out of toothpaste when I was still using, and I flipped out because I was like, I literally don't have any more money to go buy toothpaste.
Yeah.
And everything's a crisis, and then you really do live in fight or flight. You're in survival mode all the time. And so the hardest thing for me was to stop lying by far. Because I had woven such a web of lies and lied about so many things, I couldn't even remember everything I had lied about. So when it's all coming to light and this is all coming out, you're like, I don't even remember what I said about this. That was the hardest part for me.
$1 million question.
Yeah.
Do you still miss law enforcement? Or are you glad that chapter's closed?
I miss certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
I miss the feeling of importance, like doing something that mattered. I miss the camaraderie. I miss chasing bad guys. Man, that was my favorite, chasing bad guys. But there was a lot of other stresses that I don't miss, because I was good at like a really limited amount of things. Anything that had to do with follow up or like, asking questions later, man, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do paperwork. I want to catch them.
You want to do the meat and potatoes.
So I don't miss those things, but, getting fired was the best bad thing that ever happened to me.
I would tell you something, man. And, there's something publicly that you need to know that my last guest, Gino, he wanted me to tell you that he loves you. He's proud of you.
Appreciate that.
And, he's been through it. Yeah. I've been through it. You've been through it. Every person on my show has been through it, bro.
Yeah.
And, I get emotional when we talk about this stuff because these are things we don't say and we should, and I love Adam, dude. Adam's a stud, dude. Yeah. And, what happened to him, man, is horrible, dude. Yeah. I mean, he got shot in the line of duty and then he gets fired. It's horrible, man. And, You know, I mean, we had beers with Dirk, and Dirk's getting ready to finally retire, dude. And, you know, dude, I got to give it to Dirk. Dirk's been a warrior for a long time, bro.
Yes, Dirk. I love Dirk. Dirk had to transport me out to Bob Wiley, dude.
Yeah.
Talk about putting some people in awkward positions. And it's so funny because I'm so proud of the people I know there. Maybe not all of them are proud to know me, but man, I really love the people I worked with.
There's a lot of people, bro, that are in your corner. You know what? Because I would tell you something, man. I'm one of those people. If I love you, I'll always love you.
Yeah.
And if I hate you, you'll know it. And you know what, bro? I'm proud of you, dude. Because, dude, you had to go through probably one of the worst crucible by fires I've ever seen.
Yeah.
If someone is listening right now, police officer, not a police officer, that they're in that dark place where you once were, what would you want them to know?
I would tell them that there is a better way of life. It doesn't have to stay this way. All you have to do is make a decision, and we'll get through the next 5 minutes together. And I'm not just saying this for the sake of saying it. To anybody who struggles with drugs or alcohol addiction, if you don't know me and you know somebody who does know me, call me. You can call me directly. I'll go to a meeting with you. I'll sit through a meeting with you. I'll be your sponsor, whatever you need, but you don't have to do it alone. You know, NA stands for Narcotics Anonymous, but, you know, a lot of people say it stands for never alone, never again. Yeah. Because the addict wants to isolate, the addict wants to withdraw. And that's what I did. And you feel like the whole world's against you, but they're really not. They're living their lives, man. You just gotten so bad that you can't even integrate in society anymore. So what I would tell that person is you're not alone. There's people who have been through it, who have gotten through it, and you can do it too. And if they need to get a hold of me, man, they can, because I'll be there.
What's next for you, brother? In life, business, faith?
Yeah. So after all this, I got clean and I went back to welding for a while, but I knew that wasn't going to be for me. I was welding at a sulfur plant. So, dude, I was always covered in sulfur and always on fire, you know, whatever. And my dad actually encouraged me to start my own business. And I'm like, just like we've talked about before, you get out of law enforcement, you feel like you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And I had zero faith in myself, rightfully so. I had no reason to believe that I could do anything other than, you know, I got clean, you know, whatever. And my dad said, hey, you know, because my dad's a locksmith, and but he doesn't make car keys. And he said, I get calls all day for people who need car keys. Why don't you start a business and make car keys? And I'm like, yeah, that would require like me running a business, me knowing, you know, whatever. And he had been encouraging me to do it for a while, but the first time it came around, I was still using, and I didn't have the heart to tell him I can't go do a business where everybody paying me in cash. Like I'll run that business in the ground. It'll go up my nose and it'll be done. Yeah. So finally I started praying about it, and I was like, God, if this is what you want for me, like, show me how to do it. And my dad said, all you do is you start buying some equipment and I'll start sending you calls. So July 6th of 2022, I made my very first car key. I learned the whole business watching YouTube videos. And I had a guy that needed a car key. I had the equipment, so I drove my Ford Explorer over there, all my crap packed in the bag. Oh. I made the dude a car key, and it was like, I thought it was magic. And I made him the key, and he was like, everything okay? Because I was starting to cry.
Yeah.
I cry about everything now. And I was like, I just can't believe this. You know, I just can't believe it. Fortunately, that guy is in recovery, and so he got it. He totally understood.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something, bro. I mean, just when I ran into you in Target, dude, when I walked away from you that day, I was emotional.
Yeah.
You know, dude, because I could see the transformation in you. You walked up to me, you gave me a big old hug, and I could see the old Daniel.
Yeah, I felt like I'd come back to life.
And you know, bro, I could tell you something, man. Here's what happened to me, dude, and I got lucky, dude. I'm married to an amazing woman, man. Yeah. And I didn't have to go through all the stuff that you went through. But, man, I was close, dude. My first wife tried to get me fired. And, you know, I mean, I've been written up at the PD before. And, you know, I had some rough years there. But, man, I mean, here's the problem. Me and you, we could talk for the next 6 hours, man. But we're an hour, 53 minutes in, dude. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up with this, man. Here's the problem with wearing that badge is we often means that we give more to strangers than we do our own families.
Yeah.
And your story is, I think it's one of confession. I think it's one of redemption. I know there's a lot of people that are rooting for you.
Yeah.
When I've told people that you were going to be my guest, at first I had some mixed reviews, man, but I've told people you got to give people a chance.
Yeah.
And bro, you ever need anything from me? The answer is yes.
I appreciate
Anytime, any place, anywhere, brother.
You've already proven that to me, bro.
Yeah, I know that, man. And man, because you're a warrior, but this job took a toll on you, brother.
Yeah.
And I think you're blessed.
Yeah.
I think you're righteous. I think that you are doing what's best for you, and I think you're where you need to be.
Yeah.
And dude, when I saw you guys at the coast, your soon-to-be wife, she looks happy.
Yeah.
She looked great. You look great, dude.
We've been through hell and back.
I know you have, man. And so, well, folks, this is episode 6 of Street to Strategy. This is your boy, Jay Mac. I will tell you this, folks. Next week's episode, I thought this one was going to blow our hair back. Next week's episode is going to be equally crazy. But continue to watch, folks. I appreciate all the love and support, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.